Hello, this is Bill Steffen, meteorologist. Thank you so much for coming here to get a little bit of information about the weather. We're January 28th already. There'll be a chance of a little light snow on and off Tuesday and Wednesday here, but wouldn't amount to too much, but more as you travel off to the north, and I'll show you that here in just a second. It will be breezy today, especially in the afternoon, but not as windy as it was Monday evening. Wow, we'll take a look at some wind gusts here in a second. A chance of a little mix for late Friday into Saturday, and that could include a little freezing rain, but the whole system may stay just barely off to our south. So don't get too excited about that yet. I think all in all, it shouldn't be too bad a weekend here. Temperatures near to slightly above average. Average high temperatures are low 30s. We'll see highs mainly in the low to mid 30s. We may get through the entire month of January without a temperature above 40. We've had 140, and other than that, 35 is about the best that we've been able to do here. So we really haven't had that major January thaw like we get some years. Boy, did it get windy here. I was on the treadmill, and my wife came and got me and said, "You got to look out the window and go see what's going on here." The snow was blowing around. A little bit of a front came through, and with it, there was certainly a burst of wind. 53 miles an hour, peak gust at Grand Haven and Lansing, 52 here in Grand Rapids. That was at the Ford Airport. And also on the beach at Saugatuck, we had 51-mile-an-hour gust at Muskegon and Cedar Springs. Almost made 50 at Battle Creek, Holland, Ionia, and Dutton. And then you can see the gust down to the south, Kalamazoo there at 44. That's not a particularly windy spot, but boy, I tell you, it was really blowing. If you think it was windy here, look at some of these wind totals for you. Peak gusts Monday evening on the beach at Sheboygan, which is off to the east of the Mac Bridge, 74-mile-an-hour gust. There were trees and power lines down up there. 68 miles an hour, that's in the UP at Passage Island, 64 at Delaware. Gaylord, one spot there, picking up a wind gust of 63 miles an hour. Same at Houghton in the UP. And they also reported in the Keweenaw that there were some trees and power lines down. These are not thunderstorm related, anything like that. These are just a burst of wind came with a squall of snow, dropped the visibility down to an eighth of a mile or less at Big Rapids and Cadillac as it came on through. We had a 52-mile-an-hour gust to Copper Harbor. Can you imagine what it must have been like on Brockway Mountain up there? If you've ever taken the trip up there to look out over Lake Superior, that's a really windy place, and you just don't go up there in the wintertime on nights like this. Northport at 51. I think Traverse City was up close to 50. Leland there at 49, and Ontonagon also at around 49 miles an hour. Well, what did the wind do over at the Muskegon Channel? You can see that there's a lot of open water there. That wasn't there yesterday. On Lake Michigan, the amount of ice on the lake diminished by 3% yesterday, and the reason for that is that the wind was pushing on the ice and broke up some of the ice like it did here and you can tell by the way that not a boat went through there or anything like that, but that was all due to the wind. Here's a look at the amount of snow that's on the ground, and boy, take a look at down in Florida, Georgia, southeastern Alabama. The snow came Wednesday evening for those people, and look at they're still uh, this was yesterday morning, and they still had at least a trace of snow on the ground there across Georgia. Pretty amazing. You can see there's a lot of snow in the western mountains out there. They've had some pretty good skiing. We've had a lot of snow here from lake effect with the cold air coming across the five Great Lakes, but not much wind, not much snow has come from those low pressure systems that travel from southwest to northeast. We may see that pattern change. We may see some more what we call synoptic snow coming here as we start February and beyond. But you can see Grand Rapids has had 52, 53 inches of snow. Holland's at over 62 inches, but Milwaukee's only had 12 inches. So quite a difference from one side of the lake to the other. Here's expected snowfall over the next 72 hours, and you can see downwind from the Great Lakes here, quite a bit of snow, but not so much for southern lower Michigan here. Temperatures won't be quite that cold as they would be off to the north, so you're seeing heavier snow totals in northwest lower Michigan, but not so much south of Grand Rapids over the next 3 days, maybe an inch or two at the most here. But there will be more significant snow from Marquette eastward over towards Sault Ste. Marie, and downwind from Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Well, the 8 to 14 day outlook is in. This shows a ridge with warm temperatures in the southeast. They went from shoveling snow The temperatures in the 70s down there from South Carolina down to New Orleans, and cold air, colder than average air across the northern plains, and that's going to provide quite a contrast, more so than usual, and that's going to mean a stormier pattern for us here as we head into the month of February. Count on that, and that shows up in the 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook when we have above average precipitation expected through the Ohio Valley and up here into lower Michigan. A little update on the California fires. They had some rain out there, and that certainly helped things. The Eden fire is almost 100% out. When you see a containment of over 90%, that usually means that the fire is not moving much at all. And what they're doing is they're basically putting out some hot spots, areas where they're still seeing a bit of smoke. But the border fire is a much smaller fire that's down toward the Mexican border. That just jumped from 40 to 43% contained, and they should make good progress on that here during the day tomorrow. Rainfall totals, over an inch fell at UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles. Ventura had an inch, Santa Monica half an inch, and the LA airport there, LAX, at 0.36. They've had cooler conditions, they've had more humidity in the air, and light winds, and that has certainly helped the firefighters out there. Weather today, low to mid 30s during the afternoon, breezy in the afternoon. Could be a period of snow, especially north of Grand Rapids, where conditions could cause some slick spots on the roads during the afternoon especially. So beware of that if you're traveling north. Could be a couple of inches of snow up toward US 10, and it will blow around a bit. There could be some blowing snow into the early morning hours, but after that it should kind of taper off here for Wednesday afternoon. Winds in the afternoon, west at 15 to 20 miles an hour. Look at that big old sunshine there on Thursday. I'm maybe a touch optimistic here, but I think we can get away with that. We got a great day coming up for you, and it will be mild out there, mid-upper 30s. So if you want to do something outdoors, that's the place to do it. Breezy conditions here expected here today, and it may be a touch breezy here early Wednesday as well. Well, an interesting question for me from my daughter. First time I'm seeing this. What was your first car? I didn't own a car until I came to Grand Rapids for the job. I figured I better get one then, and my father sold me one for $1, and I told people it was worth at least twice that. It was an old Pontiac Tempest, and it was pretty well beat up. I kept it running for about a year until I got a better car, but that was what I was driving at the time. Did not have a car when I was in high school or college. A little bit fun fact for you on the Calder Plaza. I'm standing next to it there for the open of the shows by Alexander Calder. It was a work funded by the NEA, National Endowment for the Arts. It was installed in 1969. Alexander Calder, of course, was a very prolific sculptor, and there are many of his works around, including you can see in the Federal Plaza building in downtown Chicago. That one looks pretty similar to the one we have here, red color. Thought I'd throw this one in too. This is Calder Plaza. About a year after the Calder was installed, they had kind of a gathering there. And this was in 1970. This was the start of Festival of the Arts. And I first volunteered for Festival of the Arts in 1975 it was. I emceed the children's stage that Saturday. And look at the picture. If you look in the distance there beyond the crowd, you can see a parking lot and the Emmanuel Lutheran Church, which is still there. But boy, the medical buildings aren't here. The public buildings weren't here in 1970. It was certainly a different looking city than what we have out there right now. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Have yourself a great day today, and thanks for checking the weather.